At this point, we see All About You in the unit tab does have 4 Vikings out at this point, and QXC does not have anything in the air. So All About You is going to be able to control the air game. He's going to be able to take down Medivacs as well as Banshees and other Vikings as long as he keeps this air superiority. So something interesting we often see in this TvT is air and ground superiority. Both can make a huge difference whether you have your siege tank positioned well and whether you have larger numbers of siege tanks than your opponent. And then the Viking versus Medivac and Banshee game as well. So both players using small amounts of units at this point. A little bit of Marine on Marine action, as we see no upgrades for either player or for All About You at this point. And QXC does not have any upgrades either. A scan going down for All About You. He will see this command center for QXC. He does have those rocks taken down from that gold expansion. So if he's able to get that up and running before his opponent, he could rocket ahead. He does have a number of barracks, 5 barracks, and two factories in this point. Looks like a trapped siege tank. So again, QXC does have firm map control. He has both towers, but he only has 1 siege tank at this point. And we see a number of siege tanks for All About You moving into position here, as well as Vikings. So these Vikings can be able to snipe any sort of Banshees or Medivacs, hoping to heal up these Marines and Marauders. We do have stim complete for QXC and All About You. So going for a little bit of a late stim in this TvT matchup. You don't have to get it out early. Neither player going for any sort of death push with Marines, as All About You slowly but surely moves up, hoping to get some shots at those siege tanks. The Vikings providing sight for the siege tanks. Again, the siege tanks can fire longer than they can actually see, so if you have some air helping them out spotting, they're going to be quite powerful. And it looks like QXC foregoing that gold expansion, going to be expanding to the north here. So it's going to be a pretty risky expansion. The north is a quick path right to All About You. So we see All About You attempting to push forward with these siege tanks. Now we have stim Marauders hoping to come in. They do extra damage against those armored siege tanks, taking them down. As we see Root QXC also sieging up here. So hoping to shut down this lane, but he does have this command center, and it's going to be quite vulnerable to All About You. All About You taking this high ground, hoping to hold it against any sort of units as they do stim up here, hoping to focus down the few siege tanks, and QXC is able to, and now he's going to take these towers once again. So moving into position, getting up a planetary fortress, going to be very good against any sort of Marines and Marauders, but the siege tank's going to be able to outrange that planetary fortress. QXC taking this tower, he's got it sieged up here, he's got a little bit of infantry in the back, but again, he cannot go for many Medivacs because the Vikings of All About You will be able to take them down quite easily. All About You moving in with a Medivac of his own and a few Marines here. And the Medivac's going to be able to protect those Marines from any sort of siege tank fire. See, a very smart idea, since he does have air superiority, he can use the Medivac just to transport those Marines. See, All About You sieging up here, trying to take down the Marauders of QXC, but the Stim Marauder is so powerful, they've got a lot of life, they've got a little bit of armor against those siege tanks. Again, the siege tank is doing a lot of extra damage against armored, but those Stim Marauders able to stim up and take down those siege tanks of All About You, and now All About You having to pull back here, and he's a little bit on the defensive. As we see, QXC has both these towers well positioned, getting up missile turrets, hoping to take down the Medivacs and the Vikings of All About You. And now QXC with firm map control at this point, pushing out, and he does have 3 bases up and running. This planetary fortress so powerful with that missile turret as well. And now it looks like All About You hasn't even taken down these rocks, but he's going to be trying to establish that gold as we see him moving forward, trying to break the siege of QXC. And he needs sight on this high ground with that Viking landed up there. Now getting a scan, he cannot reach this last siege tank. So trying to push up here, if we check out the army tab, 2200 to 1750, as we see QXC moving in here, trying to siege this gold expansion for All About You. Before All About You can get the planetary fortress up and going, does have these Marauders hoping to take it down. The siege tanks focusing it down as well. Now we see All About You trying to get a drop on these siege tanks. That's going to be very powerful if the Marines and the Marauders are not able to take down those Marines fast enough, as we see the Medivac doing its best to heal up those Marines, doing an admirable job in fact. And now the planetary fortress is about complete, as we see All About You doing his best to to heal up that planetary fortress, and he was able to take down those pressing forces of QXC. But again, QXC does have both of these towers. Very strong force in the southern part of the base, or in the southern part of the map. AllAboutYou does have superior tank numbers though, so we see 7 tanks pushing forward, and he is going to be able to take this tower if he can get some siege shots up here. That siege tank goes down, and AllAboutYou controlling the north, QXC controlling the south, trying to take down the backdoor rocks of AllAboutYou. Checking out the APM of both players, AllAboutYou 240 compared to the 156 of QXC, but QXC so methodical, attacking in multiple places at once, scanning, making sure his opponent is not in position to defend here, and now can go down or go for these important tech structures, taking down that tech lab first, and then the reactors. So going to be taking on all comers. We see AllAboutYou is in that siege position in the north, trying to take down that planetary fortress, but he's just out of position. By the time he would get back to his base here to defend, most of his base would be gone. He'd be better just to press forward and attack. See both these Terran armies just not very mobile if you don't have the medevacs to ferry units around. So both players using those siege tanks, sieging up, trying to take each other out. As AllAboutYou is able to take down that last siege tank. It's 1v1 now, and now we see landed Vikings hoping to take down the pressing forces of QXC. See AllAboutYou doing his best on this planetary fortress, but a few SCVs in the back just repairing it non-stop. And then AllAboutYou is also taking a frontal position here, hoping to bottle up QXC a little bit. But we see QXC dropping siege tanks, unsieged siege tanks, and busting up that forward position, the choke of AllAboutYou. So QXC in control here. He's got nothing wrong with this planetary fortress, just 2 SCVs in the back, enough to repair it. AllAboutYou is sucking minerals out of his opponent, but now we see QXC with another drop, taking down the siege tanks, and just a slow reaction for AllAboutYou. AllAboutYou trying to swing in here and take down these medevacs, cut down the mobility of QXC with those Marauders. Marauders so very good against those siege tanks, and now it looks like QXC is going to be applying a little bit of pressure to this gold expansion, hoping to take on that planetary fortress. In fact, he will just retreat here and shut down any mining. The planetary fortress is out of position, will not be able to protect these SCVs. And now AllAboutYou forced to make a decision. Does we want to land these Vikings, try to take on those Marauders? The Vikings are armored, so they are going to retreat and just do what they've been doing all game, and that's control the airspace. If we check the army tab, it is 4,100 to 1,900, so AllAboutYou only on about 1.5 mining bases, way oversaturated on his natural. QXC is expanding like a mofo here. He's got 4 mining bases up, and he's got another command center on the way. Imagine he will be taking this position. He's got the southern tower well positioned with siege tanks. In the north, he does have that planetary fortress, and he's about to take down this marine. Needs to stim up there, and it looks like AllAboutYou going to be able to keep that north tower. Now doing his best to move siege tanks into position. You want to set up multiple choke points here so that you shut down the movement of your opponent. So we see AllAboutYou taking this northern route once again. Going to be very difficult to engage that planetary fortress, but if he can hold this northern position, he may be able to shut down the harassment from that gold expansion. As we see QXC coming in again with a number of Vikings of his own. They're not going to be able to take on AllAboutYou though. And now we see the Marines and the Marauders stimming up, and some SCVs as well for QXC, taking down that siege tank, and AllAboutYou having to give the GG. So QXC very methodical in this game with some drops, some stim Marauders as well, breaking a number of sieges. As we see AllAboutYou taking a little bit of an early advantage, making it to the front door into the natural of QXC, but QXC was able to defend against that, and then slowly but surely push across this map, take more and more bases, and then he was able to control those towers and those all-important choke points in the TvT matchup. That planetary fortress also well placed, shutting down any sort of northern movement by AllAboutYou's army, and in the end, AllAboutYou just sort of choked. He could not mine off of that gold as those Marauders were going to be taking on any SCVs attempting to mine there, and then QXC breaking that final siege, and AllAboutYou having to give the GG. So pretty interesting TvT there. Maybe mirror matchups aren't all that bad. I will go ahead and look through more QXC replays and see if there's anything else worth bringing to you guys. As always, if you are interested in more StarCraft 2 action, check out my channel Matron StarCraft at youtube.com. Thanks for watching this one. Take care.